Sure. And I'm very happy to have Lisa here today. Lisa's been a frequent presenter for Twin Parks, and her information is always so valuable. It really applies to almost any age, although it's targeted towards the preschool age child for us today. Yesterday, she met with teachers. It was a wonderful, wonderful workshop, and I think the teachers all really, really appreciated it. Again, because our teachers have to sometimes do professional development in shifts because of the staffing concerns. We have it recorded as well. And I think what we're going to do with the recording from yesterday is have some staff meetings where we're showing the video as a group and then having the opportunity then to share some ideas once we look at it again. So it's wonderful to have the shared information though, because if parents are hearing it and we are also doing it at school, it's kind of nice, a nice pairing that way. So thank you so much, Lisa, and take it away.
All righty. Thank you so much for having me again. I love talking to parents as much as I love talking to staff, but I started out as a preschool teacher and then spent many, many, many years as a parent educator and now a child care consultant and work with individual parents and families as well as schools on specific children, on overall just general training in child development. My background is in human development, so I also really have a good feel for how it is for us, going through different stages of our parenting lives. And as we're like in the new throes of being a parent, how it takes a while, right, to develop your parenting philosophy and to get a sense of um, who is your child, what kinds of techniques and strategies are going to work for you. And so that's what we're going to do today. We have an hour, so we can't get into like super duper depth in any one area. I want to give you what I feel like are an overview of some things that you can do that will help you at home, but also really be tied to success for your child at school. And what Susan said is absolutely 100% right, that the importance of consistency cannot be overstated. And so there are some just things that you may already even be doing, and you'll say, I already know that. So for you, some of this will be a refresher. And for other people, maybe these are some new things that you want to bring up and talk about with your partner or spouse. Um, is it giving you trouble, Susan?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Can you see the screen now? Does it say 20 things?
It does say 20 things.
Okay.
If you can make it bigger, that would be nice, but maybe you can't. Maybe you can
I
get
can.
the
Is that
little
okay? Like that?
heading. Oh, look at you. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's better. And then just scroll down as we talk.
Okay.
Okay,
Got
yeah,
it.
perfect. So Stop the Fighting and Biting is my website. You can always reach me by going there. Um, and this is my list of 20 things that I want to speak with you about. And then I've got a couple of other handouts that will get into further depth on some of these top topics. I'm a pretty pragmatic person, and I always like to say, children do things and have challenging behavior for a variety of reasons. It's never one reason. And we always need to take a look at what are the things are in our control that we can help limit the stressors for children at home and at school. One of the things you have power over is what do you provide your child for breakfast? And I know they don't always eat, what you put in front of them, but one thing I always say when I'm working with a particular family, a particular school is remember, try to give them a satiating breakfast before school. Try to include protein, some kind of butter or oil, and some sort of complex carbs like fruit, because it will keep them from feeling uh, you know, tension around hunger. And who knows if they're going to eat a lot of snack. It may be that they get just distracted, want to get back to play, they're talking. So this way they're going to have a better chance at, feeling good about their hunger levels all the way to lunch. Somebody is needs to mute. We're hearing some background noise. If you could all mute your,
I'm sorry, let me just,
can you mute people? Okay, great. By the way, if you want to stop me and ask a question while we're going through this, just put the yellow hand sign up on your screen. So I'm going to keep going, and Susan's going to pull the handout back up. So we talked about breakfast. Another thing that I always say is if your child is showing some signs of irritability, check how much sleep they're getting at night, because even a preschooler needs 10 to 12 hours of sleep at 3 years old. And that's a lot of sleep at night because they're getting some of that right during the day, if they're taking a nap, and hopefully they still are taking a little bit of a nap even at the age of 3. And half of 4-year-olds will want to take a nap, even if it's just for 45 minutes. So kind of check your schedule and see if there's time for that. And if you ever need help on sleep, please look me up, because I do a lot of sleep consultation as well. Number 3, this thing about 15 minutes. It's funny, the research on this shows, and I understand being a working parent, you don't have a lot of time in the morning. You don't have a lot of time at night. Most of the time you have with your kids is on the weekends. However, if you can find 15 minutes of quality time with your child every day, it actually makes a, a difference, a noticeable difference in their level of calm, in their level of connection, in their ability to handle stress. And this is called wants nothing quality time, which this means the kind of quality time where you're just hanging with your child. You're just saying, what are you doing? Let me watch. Wow, this is fun. You're not looking at your phone. You're not having a side conversation with your partner or spouse. You're not having an eye on the TV news. You're really completely focused on this child for 15 minutes. It's not a long time, but I mention it to you in case you want to give that a try and try to just schedule it into your day. Transition stress. A lot of acting out behavior with children happens during some kind of transition. Now, most people know, give them forewarning. Don't just jerk them out of what they're doing and say, we're leaving now. You don't do that. You give some kind of forewarning. And that's important. Understand that some children who are less adaptable in their temperament, they need a little longer period of forewarning, and they may need 2 sections of forewarning. In 10 minutes, we're going to be coming up to the table for dinner. Or in 10 minutes, we'll be getting undressed for bath time. And then you say, in 5 minutes, we're going to be getting undressed for bath time. So you're giving them a little bit more runway to be prepared. Respectful touching, not sudden pickups. Teach your child how not to crowd others. Kids are fun to play with, siblings, other people in your life. People are more touchy-feely in a family, and that's of course, normal. And then when they get to school, there are problems between that touchy-feely and automatically get real close to people that can cause confusion. My advice is just to if you're picking up, especially a young child, always let them know, hey, I'm going to pick you up now. We're going to get your coat on, ready to get in the car. That's all. And also to teach children how not to crowd others. I know that at the schools, many of them talk about space, and they teach children to say, I need space. Because if you're feeling crowded, you need to have something to say about that so that you don't end up pushing somebody away. You can say, I need space. So that's a good phrase to use. Never use biting, pushing, teasing games unless you've labeled it as specific pretend play. Again, it's fun to fool around with kids at home, and they love just jumping on you and wrestling with you. And my only advice there is, in order to help them not be confused about it's okay to do in one place but not another, to really call it what it is. Well, do you feel like wrestling? Do you feel like, call it something, so you're labeling it and containing it as a specific type of play, not something that is okay to do everywhere, especially at school. Simple house rules. Everybody should start thinking about what are our house rules. And maybe you've never called it that, but preschool children can grasp the meaning of a house rule because especially at school, for example, there are rules. We don't throw toys. That's a rule. We hold hands when we walk to the park. That's a rule. We clean up what we fall, if the food that falls on the floor. There's lots of little rules. At home, if you're trying to establish some kind of behavior, and especially if you have siblings and there's some, conflicts that you're working with, think about how you want to phrase that rule. We don't hurt people's bodies and we don't hurt people's feelings. That's a simple, common house rule. Don't use confusing discipline techniques or phrases that are too sophisticated or vague. For that, there are lots of things I'd like to always right here remind people that 3-year-olds are concrete thinkers. They are not abstract thinkers. 4-year-olds beginning to be more abstract. 5-year-olds, absolutely. But a 2 and a 3-year-old and less than that, absolutely do not get the concept of how would you like it if they did that to you, or that's not nice, or some sort of more mannerly kind of expectation. They need very specific action-oriented wording on what's to be expected. Number 9, allow children to learn patience by regularly, gently expanding their wait times at home. This is actually something that I think everybody probably can work on. Most children I know of this age, the toddler and preschool age, they are well loved by their parents, and parents are anxious to please them and to keep them happy. And the one thing, that you want to add into your repertoire with your child is it's a benefit to them to learn how to manage impatience, to learn how to manage a bit of frustration. That's where they're going to learn it at home better than anywhere because you are their most important teachers. So, for example, if a child is impulsively like, I'm thirsty, I want juice, you don't have to instantly like stop your conversation with your husband and say, oh, yes, right away and get it. You can say, and give him a gesture, in 1 minute, I hear you. I'll get it for you in a minute. I'm talking to your dad. And you can help them understand not to interrupt and expect sudden, immediate satisfaction, but to be figuring out like, how do I wait? How do I wait? How do I wait? That's a great skill that they can be learning at this age. And they do a lot of waiting at school because there's a lot of people there. And it's not one-on-one attention like it is at home. So you can help them get comfortable with those waiting skills at home.
Lisa, could I just interject there that kind of
Yeah.
the way we do it at school?
Yeah.
So one of the things often that teachers do is they'll teach the child, and it may be different in each class, but they might put their hand on their shoulder, and then the teacher will put their hand on their hand to signify that, yes, I see you and I hear, I know that you're here and you're waiting for me, and then continue to talk. So they're not taking their attention away from the lesson that they're giving or the attention to the other child, but by placing their hand like that, there's a signal that, yes, I will come to you in a moment. And then one of the very first things we use with toddlers is when we do food tasting. So a lot of times a toddler there'll be a piece of apple or something in front of them, and then they have to wait until everyone is served before they can actually eat. So there's a certain way that we help to stretch that waiting period, because that is really important. So just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Yes, great examples. And that's nice to know that's something that can be mimicked then at home too. Another just tip I'm going to give you is I love being demonstrative. I think you can teach so much to little children through just simple modeling. let's just say taking turns. That's a great example. And again, if you have a couple of kids, you're experiencing grabbing because that's normal. It happens. Even if you just have the one child, it's so useful if you can. And I believe, did I give you the turn taking handout as well? I think I did, Susan. Yeah, so there's a turn taking handout you're going to get that I wrote. It's called Turn Taking is Not the Same as Sharing. And it helps them understand that, if for example, if I'm going to model this for my child, let's say this is my phone, this is my remote control for the TV, and my husband will pretend to want it. And he'll say, I need the remote. I want to watch something. And I'll say, I'm holding it right now. When I put it down, my turn will be over and you can have it turn. And so we're modeling how turn taking goes. And he might say, well, how much longer? And I might say, well, 5 minutes. And then he'll say, okay. And then he'll say, what do I do while I wait? And he's self-talking. He's doing that demonstrably so that a child can sort of see this interaction. You're doing a little scenario and they can see in real time how that would look. It's like a scene in a play. So you can demonstrate how turn taking is done with serving spoons, with a hairbrush, with a hair dryer, with all kinds of things at home. I recommend it. Take a look at the handout. You'll get more examples there too. Allow the child to learn patience by expanding their wait times at home. Again, we kind of went over that already, so I'm not going to talk about that too much more. Teach social skills and words through we did that. Impulse control techniques yes, let's talk about this. There are some things that you can teach your child to do when they're feeling upset. And you want to be as concrete as possible. For example, if someone has slapped at you, they're mad, they've slapped at your face or knocked your glasses off your face or hit you because they're mad because you're making them get dressed and they don't want to. You can say, I won't let you hit. If your hands feel like hitting, do this, squeeze your hands together. I can see you're upset, but you can squeeze your hands together. Hitting is not okay. Or something else to do with your hands. Maybe this is one that I like now. Finger tap, fingertips, fingertips, fingertips. There are things that you can teach them about self-regulation, and they're little, I understand, but you start somewhere. Some children like this, we call it fire hands. Fire hands. If your hands feel like hitting, take a deep breath, blow out the fire. Okay, now let's talk. Now I'm calm. Because children cannot be reasoned with unless they're in a calmer state. If they're highly, upset, it's like a tantrum. You can't talk them out of it. You help them through it, but you don't start reasoning with them until they're calmed from the tantrum. And so that's an important distinction. It's okay to have that feeling. Feelings come up, they arise in us. No one can stop that. That's your feeling. What you do with it is a skill. And that's what parents and teachers help them with. Coach your child in specific alternative words instead of grabbing. I want the word coach is very intentional here because it sort of helps you turn your mindset off from mommy, daddy to like, here's a social or emotional problem. Here's a conflict. Here's a behavior that I need to help this child learn a better way of expressing his feelings. I need to coach him on how to do that. It's not like you can talk them into it. You have to say, like, I won't let you grab from your brother. If you want that, ask him, my turn? My turn? When you done? What are the words that you want? If a child is crowding another child and the child that's feeling crowded pushes that other child and they fall, what would you rather have had them do? Rewind it, rewrite that little scene in the play in your head, you would have wanted them to just use their words and say, move back, you're too close, or I need space. That's what I rather would have rather had them do. So that's exactly specifically what I need to teach. So in your coaching interaction, even if it's 90 seconds, it doesn't have to be a long speech. You just say, I saw this happen. If you feel that way next time, do this instead. And you want to give them a different idea, a different solution, make a different choice so that they can see that they actually have options. When they're very myopic, little children are pretty myopic, and some have a kind of a temperament that is quite non-adaptable. Like they like regularity, they want predictability, they think it's going to be this way, they don't like any, changes to their life. And those are the kinds of children that need extra time and attention on, what's a better idea, what's a better solution. Teach your child not what to say if another child gets too rough or grabby with them. If your child is kind of the victim of some of that, they need a strong word. They need a strong word. And sometimes this age child, they don't understand that they can like put a lot of emphasis on a word like stop it or don't or help or give them permission to use a stronger voice if they feel uh, worried or nervous about someone's actions towards them. Again, better than hitting, pushing, using a physical reaction. You want to comment positively when you see children use good social skills at home? Sure, you're doing that because it's so exciting when you see it. And then you can say like, and again, the way to praise a child is by using the action you saw being used, not by just saying a random good job, good boy, good girl. No, that's not helpful because that's abstract. It's helpful if you say, I just noticed how you moved over and made room for your sister. What a good idea. Now that's helpful. That's fantastic praise because now that child is hearing specifically the choice they made that caught your attention, that is right in line with what you're hoping they're learning. You know, maybe things that you've struggled with them, like they fight you on getting into the car seat or having to sit in the stroller or having to hold your hand when they cross the street. They push against that. They're oppositional with you on that. The day that someone doesn't and they just take your hand and they walk along with you without needing to be reminded, don't just hold your breath and cross your fingers that this happens every time. Mention, I noticed how well you held my hand without even asking. Wow, fantastic. Fantastic. So go ahead and look for those little moments. Look for those little moments. Use iMessages to establish focus and control during conflicts, tantrums, non-compliance. I'm a huge fan of iMessages because here's why. I think it buys you like 5 seconds to like take a moment, take a beat, look at what's going on, and just say what you see. I see grabbing, and that's a problem. You don't need to be the judge and jury right out the gate. You don't need to say like, hey, you do this, you stop that. You don't, just step in to the conflict or the problem behavior and use an iMessage. And I'm going to give you some good ideas about those in just a second, but keep this in mind as a place that you always want to start for your own benefit as well as for theirs. If you start with, you need to stop that right now, you're going to get a child that says like this, I'm done listening because I'm being attacked and I'm getting defensive and you're blaming me. And so I'm not hearing what you're saying now. I'm just going to like wait till this blows over. It's a better idea. Start with your iMessage instead of a you statement all the time. You want to establish focus. You want to present yourself as I'm in control. I see hitting over here, and that's not okay. I'm here to help sort this out. Let's talk. So all of a sudden, I have said, I'm here, I'm in charge, and I have the ability to help you sort this out. I'm the support person now. I'm the leader of the pack. I'm, you know, useful to you. I see a problem. People are in stress. I'm here. So that gets you there without having them feel like they have to have an excuse. Because if you have older children, if you have a 4-year-old, I'll bet you $1 million you've got a child who's like a very good attorney at getting themselves out of trouble and coming up with the excuse. Well, he's had it for too long, and he told me I could have the next turn, or he knows I like to sit there, and there's always an excuse with a 4-year-old. So that's not where you start the conversation. You have to stay in charge. Now, for them to listen to you, you want to start the second thing you do with iMessages is then active listening, because you want to validate their feelings, even if they're completely in the wrong. If you have two children, for example, and one has hurt the other, the feelings of the victim, that's easy to comment on. That's super easy. We always do that. "Oh, I'm so sorry you were hurt. You, I can see how sad you are." For the child who did the hurting, very often nobody comments on that child's feelings of being, you know, frustrated or upset or impatient or worried, whatever those feelings were that caused this outburst, this striking out, even maybe, or this oppositional behavior towards you. If you comment on that and then follow up with, and this is what's going to happen next, you will get their attention 20 times more than if you just start giving advice. And nuanced feeling words. And I'll just take a moment here and I'm going to give you some examples of what I mean by that. I find that people are pretty good at saying to children, "I see you're angry," or I know that makes you sad. Or I don't know, upset maybe. I recommend getting really good at identifying the feeling under the feeling. Under what's being expressed might look like just anger. Maybe the feeling underneath it is disappointment. Okay. For example, I'm 4 years old. I've been working on this block tower for 20 minutes. I got it just the way I wanted it. My 2-year-old sister came along and accidentally bumped it, and now it's on the ground. It's fallen. It's ruined. Am I mad? Yeah. But you know what? I'm mad because I'm disappointed in how long it took me to do that. And then this happened. So if you speak to me about like, I imagine how disappointed you must be that that happened. And yet I can't let you hurt your sister. We don't, we always touch people gently, even when we're feeling disappointed and upset and mad. Here's what's going to happen next time. Next time you feel that way, show us, tell her it with your body in a, show in a, you can say no, in a loud voice. Give them a chance to squeeze their fist, stomp their foot, like say "ugh" in a loud voice. Everything short of hurting another child. That's where we draw the line, or hurting a parent. Some children will try to hurt their parents, as you know. Grab your glasses off, like bite you. There's lots of that. That's not unusual. You handle it exactly the same way with the iMessage, the active listening, and do this instead when you feel that way kind of coaching. 17, you don't want to, I recommend, this is my opinion, not to force an apology after any kind of mistake. It's not authentic if you are saying, "Tell him you're sorry." It's not authentic. And the message they get is, the key out of trouble is just saying, "Sorry, sorry, I'm sorry." And man, I have seen that for 30 years. I've seen this. And so I believe, to me, a better way is to model the sorrow that you want this child to be feeling for the hurt that he caused or whatever, and say, like, I'm sorry this happened to you, to the victim. I'm sorry you were hurt. Um, are you all done? Mason, are you all done hitting your sister? If you Mason says, I'm all done, Emily will feel better than if he says sorry, because she knows sorry is just an easy ticket out of trouble. And if he's all done, that's a physical thing that can be calibrated, can be identified. And he, in fact, is all done for the moment anyway, hitting. So you're going to like, and we can't, I mean, this is such a short parenting session. We can't go into a lots of detail. I will say on my website are some handouts about this very kind of thing. So there's
Lisa, Sharon has I think a question, and there's also a question in the chat, if you don't mind taking a brief moment for that.
okay. Can you give me some examples on replacement language for that's not nice for the toddler age? For that's not nice for the toddler age. I would say it sort of depends on what it was. That was not nice. I would reiterate the limit is we touch people gently, even when we're upset. You know, food is not for throwing. If you're done eating, I'll put the food away. That is not nice. You could, it depends on what it is, honestly, but you have to define what that is and what the behavior you want to replace that looks like. You can say, you know, if that is throwing or hitting, spitting, those kinds of things, call it what it is and say how I get it, that's how you feel, this is what you do instead. And I won't let you. I like that phrase a lot. If it has to do with two children, I won't let you near your brother when you hit him. I skip the whole that is not nice thing. I see hitting. That's not okay. I won't let you near your brother when you hit him. If a child does that to me, and it happens to me even now as a consultant, if a child, strikes out at me, I will take their hands, I will hold them down, and I will say, I won't let you hit me. I won't let your hands free until you're done hitting. Or I'll swoop and plop them over here and say, I can't let you near Mason. It's my job to keep everyone safe. Hitting is not safe. So you're defining what the problem is more than nicety, which has more to do with manners. So teaching manners is not real effective with this age group. Staying in the concrete lane is where you want to be.
And Sharon has a question too, I think, if you want to
Okay,
unmute.
Sharon, yeah, what's your question?
Yeah. My question is if this all applies to self-biting or self-hitting. Sometimes when my son gets really frustrated, it's
Yeah.
rare, but he'll bite himself or he'll hit himself, and it's never towards anyone else. And I've tried to say things like, we respect our bodies and we don't want to hurt ourselves, and I want to keep your body safe. But it seems like that's where he goes to first rather than trying to hit someone else.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's not uncommon. You know what? I would give him some, I would sprinkle in some other more calming activities. I mean, if he's like really upset, give him something else to do. If he's biting, I would give him something else to do verbally with his mouth and his jaw. And I would say, when you're feeling so upset, here's a better idea. Clench your teeth and growl like that. Or breathe in and out through your teeth until you're feeling, and when you're ready to talk, I can help you. Because you want to give them the idea that like this moment, I can't deal. That's okay. Here's another way to get that out, and then I can help you. Well, you'll be ready to talk. Biting himself, luckily the natural consequence of biting yourself is it hurts. hitting yourself, it's going to hurt. So rather than you step in and say, I don't want you to, we don't do that to ourselves. In his mind, it's kind of like silly because he knows you don't. So it's sort of a little kind of a very meek and mild reminder. It's like not really setting a limit, or it's not that helpful when we include ourselves in the words, we don't do XYZ. Because they're smart enough to know, yeah, we don't.
Right,
And
right.
you want to be a little, tackle it a little bit more head on.
Okay.
But let it be his thing. Go like, it looks like you're pretty upset. I would use a lot of active listening. You're really mad about something right now. I'm anxious to hear about it. When you're all done fussing, let's talk. Here's a good thing. If here's something to try. And then just leave him. Like give him some space, even if you're 2 feet away, 4 feet away. Let him kind of like try something else. Try the fire hands. Have I told you about that one? The
Yeah.
self-regulating things. Um, he could try this. He could try hugging himself so tight like this. So just come up with test out some other things as alternatives for the teeth or the
Okay.
hitting on the head. And just know that millions of kids do that. He's not unusual.
Okay.
I was
Thank
with
you.
I was with someone yesterday that did this.
Yeah. Thank
What
you.
about those? What about the chewy? I know that some people have suggested the chewy things. Would that be something, or
I don't
do you
know.
not?
Chewy things, I'm not a big fan because, it's so like artificial and oh, where is it? It's not in this, it needs to be what you're doing with yourself has to be on your body. Not like I need to grab that thing or I wear it around my neck or anything. Um, I would rather people just use their teeth and their ugh, and their, breathing, you know. Sometimes people learn to cool down by just rubbing their earlobes for a minute or I find the hand stuff really catches on with kids. Or the thing between the teeth, they love the sound it makes because it sounds really sounds like a monster. So they like that because it sounds furious. Kind of captures what's going on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Coordinate your limit setting expectations and techniques. Try. I know this is a hard big lift with nannies, babysitters, grandparents. I know that's so hard. Even as I'm saying this, I'm feeling like good luck because you can't control what's going on when you're not there. But if you can help them even learn 2 techniques that you are using and finding some success with, and even if it's iMessage, even if it's active listening, even if it's, any of the things we've just started talking a little bit about, it will help your child to not be sabotaged by someone who's doing the exact opposite of what you're trying to teach them. And then, you know what? Be aware of your tone of voice. This is such an important one. I don't even know why I left it at number 20, because when you intervene in a problem, here's the thing. You have to establish that you're in charge. They're out of control. Someone needs to be in control, and that's you. So if you step in with a conversational tone and a gentle tone and a mommy tone of voice and say, what's happening over here? I don't understand. Hey, calm down. You are not going to like present as the leader, as the problem solver. I'm here to I understand things are out of control. Here we go. We're going to establish control. Firm but warm. So you adopt a deeper tone of voice. You make sure you're giving eye contact. You get down where they can see you and you talk slowly. It's not a lot of language like this. It's really choose your words. This is broken down into chunks so that you can understand what went wrong, how to fix that, what to do next time. And everybody expects kids to make many, 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 many mistakes. And they'll learn to do self-regulation if it can be this kind of method that I'm proposing. I see a lot of success with that. Let's go to the, let's go to the iMessage. Well, let's see, what do we want to go to? Yeah, let's go to the iMessage. You know what? I want to make sure we have time. We'll do this one, starter phrases. That's fine. Let's go to starter phrases, how to help a young child gain focus and understand their emotions. I like a starter phrase. And I almost sometimes it keeps the whole situation from blowing up out of control. If you hear some stress going on and you step in and say, uh, I see what, I wonder if people need more room to play over here. Or I wonder if you're starting to feel hungry. Or a child is complaining to you about something and you say, I hear you. I understand what you're saying. Here's a thought. And then you pause. Just pause. Get their focus before you speak about your idea. The whole concept of flexible thinking, you want to teach children how to be more flexible in their thinking because they're very myopic. And they look at the world as like, oh my God, my idea isn't working. It's the end of the world. Yeah, this is terrible. It's a tragedy. They get very dramatic, some of them. So constantly look for ways where you can say, I get it. Your idea was you wanted chicken nuggets for dinner. Well, chicken nuggets are not on the menu for dinner tonight. We're having this and this and this. What's your idea for something to go with it? Do you want the rice or pasta? Or for tomorrow night, you can pick the dinner for tomorrow night. What's your second idea for a favorite dinner? It's give them the sense that what's your second idea should be a frequent phrase that you use with a preschooler. And it'll kind of blow their mind a little bit and you can talk to them about in your brain, this is where we come up with our ideas. And you have one idea here and one idea here. Where's your next idea? What's your second idea? I have an idea. And you can use suspense as a technique. I have an idea. Who wants to hear my idea? So help them with that. Active listening and feeling phrases, just, it's not really rocket science. It's like you say things to child, you reflect their feeling and you describe the situation. It sounds like you feel angry because you're not done playing and it's bedtime. You're having trouble with getting out of the bath because you feel like you want to play longer. I get it. So you're letting them know, I get it, I hear you. Even if a tantrum is happening, you can say, wow, you are furious right now. I can see that. I understand when you're ready to talk, come on over, I'm right here. You don't need to calm them down. Just respect the fact that they're having these big emotions. And you might, have taught them like some deep breathing kind of things, or you could even just stand there and deep breathe with them, even though they're fussing. When you're all done fussing, I'm here for you. Let's sort this out. And I love that phrase, let's sort this out. It's not a typical thing you would say to somebody, but for children, it sounds very promising. It sounds very promising, like, she might have a good idea. Something good could come out of this. So I recommend that one. Let's look at the difficult feeling words. Again, here's just a good list. This is just a good list. This is a page out of my book, The Biting Solution. But these are the words that I want every preschooler to know. Besides the normal words, how about furious, as I said? How about annoyed? I'm annoyed. If somebody has a sibling, I guarantee that this person is going to feel annoyed at that sibling, especially if they're a baby or a toddler and they're like getting close to what the preschooler has been working on or doing, and they just look, they don't want that worry about this younger child stumbling into their stuff. They might feel worried is another good word, or irritated. is a great word you can teach a child. I've taught a 23-month-old the word irritated before, and she learned to use it precisely in the right way. And it took the place of biting for her. It took the place of biting because she could say, "Oh, I'm so irritated, irritated at you." And it was so satisfying to her that she did not have to get physical anymore because she had the right word. So keep that in mind. Impatient is another one. Your child is tugging on you. I need this, talk to me, blah, blah, blah. I like the hand on, the gesture is great. You also can say, I know it's hard. You feel impatient. I'll be with you in a minute. I'm talking with so and so, or I'm on the phone, or I'm writing a note. You can even fake it. I would even go so far as to like just pretend you need to be doing something in order to help stretch their frustration level and patience ability. You can just pick up a pad of paper and excuse me, I'm working on something right now, but I will be right with you. I know you're feeling impatient. I hear you. I'll be with you in a moment. See what I mean? They need to understand that they can hang in there. The world is not going to end during that 1 minute that they have to wait for your attention. They can just stand there, and it's all about self-talk. It's all about like experience of, and the world didn't end. So maybe it's not so bad when my mommy or my daddy says, I need a moment. With repetition, they realize not a big deal. Let's go to the next page. So the next page is asking for compliance and dealing with resistance. So I've just got some examples here. These are just some dialogue examples of things that most people have to deal with. Confident momentum, let me explain what that means to us. Confident momentum comes, it's like a style that parents can adopt as you're saying something and you're trying to move them. Remember, this is about compliance, moving them along into where you need them to be, where you need them to go, what you need them to do next. You talk about it, you give them some like recognition, like, I know you wish you could play longer. I get it. But the clock is telling us it's cleanup time. So I'm going to start cleaning up the blue blocks. Which do you want, yellow or red? That's confident momentum. You don't even stop to ask. You don't even stop to see if they're with you. And you never, ever use the word okay if you can help it. Try to train yourself not to use the word okay. With a preschooler, remember, they're concrete thinkers. They're not abstract thinkers. They're not doing math in their head, if you say, time to clean up now, okay? They read that as, oh, I have an opinion. And my opinion is no, rather not. So that's a very hard habit to break because most of us are just trying to be friendly with children when we say time to clean up now, okay? We're trying to be cheerful. We're trying to see, I'll get them to come along with me if I really seem fun, and like put a like happy spin on it. And unfortunately, it can be turned the other way around. So it's always going to be fun, but you don't want to offer them a false hope that it's their choice. We'll talk about choices in a minute. I really love giving children lots of choices, handing them lots of power within the limits, but not using the word okay. If you're saying, I want to make sure she heard me, then I would say, yep, I get that too. And so in my world, I would say, we're leaving to go pick up your sister at school in 10 minutes. Got that? Or did you hear me? Or thumbs up? Or anything like that. You just don't want to use the word okay because that implies there's a choice. Some more iMessages. I'm waiting one more minute to see if you come over here on your own or if you need my help. I'm waiting one more minute. Listen, once you've finished with your lunch, I'll just say, I'll tell you my idea of what's coming up next. So again, you are the person with the ideas. You are the person that's setting the stage, and you're using suspense, and you're using your confident momentum thoughts to help them down this path of complying with you. I see grabbing. That's a problem. Time to talk. Let's find a solution. Here's my idea. You just move along. Number 5, hey, I'm wondering what's happening with you right now. Stop. Let's sort this out. I'm wondering what's happening with you right now. Maybe it's somebody is really upset, about to hurt somebody. You hear, voices raised. Hey, I'm wondering what's happening right now. And you really are. That's just an honest reaction. But you're not putting fire on anything yet. You're just stepping in. Again, you want to be seen as the leader, the person who can help sort people out, and the support person. So when instead of hurting someone or acting out, they say, help, mom, dad, they're using their voice in a way that's really, really useful and appropriate. Number 6, I'm reminding you about how we only touch people gently. I won't let you hurt people. Be careful. Sometimes that's all you need. I'm reminding you about how we only touch people gently. Everything is not a big federal case. Sometimes a reminder is all they need. But again, you're establishing, I won't let you hurt people. Be careful. And that's in lieu of, that's not nice. Instead of saying that's not nice, just skip right over that and just say, I won't let you hurt people. Be careful. Give choices that limit the outcome to something acceptable to you. So here's another just like general good tip for almost everything you do with your children. Don't rush into action, or don't rush out there with, a firm response. Give yourself a moment, take a pause before you start your conflict resolution or your limit setting. And also when you're giving a choice, give a pause, because children need to kind of like decide if they're going to comply with making a choice or not. They might say, forget it, I'm still going to just act out. I'm still mad. You can't get over this by giving me a lame choice. They might do that, but we want to try the choices when we can. Number 1, Ian, you have a decision to make. You can walk to the bathroom by yourself, or you can get walking help from me. What's your choice? Sonia, you can do it right now, or you can do it in 2 more minutes. What will it be? Maya, I'm offering you a choice. You can clean up the blocks or the Play-Doh, your choice. And if you end with just a very short, your choice, now the ball's in their court. And then you just stand silently and just wait. You're not rushing it. You might have to wait for 30 seconds. That's okay. Marvin, you can walk out of the playground on your own feet, or I can carry you. Which do you choose? And this, of course, is after you've already given them a lot of forewarning, and you've, used all your, the tricks in your book, and now you're just down to, well, now we've got to move. So either he's coming along willingly, or I'm going to have to pick him up. Teddy, I know you want a cookie for a snack. Right now, here are your choices: celery with peanut butter, or celery with cream cheese, or celery. Which one do you pick, or do you pick nothing? So you'll have a million ideas of how to give choices about things. I bet you do this all the time. I just wanted to highlight that it's very common and very good practice to do that when there is a choice to be made. Not about everything, though. You can't say, do you want to get into your high chair? No, you have to sit in the high chair. You have to sit in the car seat. You have to sit in the stroller at certain times. So you have to hold somebody's hand when you're walking across the street. There are just certain things that are easy to set limits on because you feel it's a safety reason or it's the law or it's not negotiable. Those are the easy ones. It's, the things at night, like bedtime stories. How many bedtime stories do you allow? Do they just keep asking and asking and you keep reading and reading because you say to yourself, oh, I'm glad he loves books. How nice. I'll just keep reading until he's, ready to fall asleep. Probably not a good idea because then you are not setting the limits on how many books are part of the bedtime routine. So when I say choice, that's what I mean, within limits. Let me stop. We're about to the end of our hour. I wonder if there are any questions that we could take quickly. And I wish we could talk further, but we're getting to be, it's almost 1 o'clock, and I know a lot of you are on your way back to work.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for making the time, being here with us today. Oh, Elizabeth has a question.
Sorry, it took me a second. I acknowledge this may not be typical. I think that my daughter confuses biting as a form of affection. She doesn't do it when she's angry or frustrated.
Uh-huh.
It's usually in moments where we're having cuddle time or we're doing something fun, and all of a sudden she just leans over and bites me.
Yes, exactly. Like a little puppy bite.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and we have not modeled that behavior. We've never done play nibbles or anything like that. So I'm just not sure how to handle it.
How old is she?
She's 27 months.
Okay.